Stealing from the dead is a pretty low move, right? But what about watching that very thief have to beg for mercy from the person they stole from? Now that's pure karma. I'm about to tell you a story that's so satisfying. It feels like it came straight out of a movie. I met this amazing woman named Becca at an antique shop a while back. She was just standing there, gazing at a beautiful vintage necklace. We got to talking, and she told me the story behind it. It turns out it belonged to her mother, but it wasn't a family heirloom she inherited in the usual way. No, this was a piece she had to reclaim. The story starts at the worst possible time in Becca's life, her mother's funeral. She was just a teenager, completely lost in grief. While everyone was mourning, her aunt, her mother's own sister, was supposedly helping with the arrangements. But this help was just a cover. While everyone was distracted, the aunt quietly pocketed their mother's most precious jewelry, including the necklace Becca was looking at in the shop. She probably thought Becca was too young and too grief-stricken to notice a few missing pieces, but she was wrong. Becca noticed everything. The missing locket, her mother's favorite pearl earrings, the diamond bracelet from her father. They just vanished. When she asked her aunt about it, the aunt played dumb. "Oh, honey, with all the chaos, things must have gotten misplaced. They'll turn up." They never did. Becca couldn't prove anything, and bringing it up would have just caused a huge family war when they were all at their lowest. So she held on to that quiet anger and let it fuel her. She promised herself that one day she would get back what was rightfully hers. She worked tirelessly, finished school, started a business, and became incredibly successful. She built a life her mother would have been proud of. Meanwhile, karma was slowly, patiently waiting for the right moment to strike her aunt. Years went by. The aunt and her husband had been living a lavish lifestyle, showing off their wealth. But it was all built on a shaky foundation. Her husband made a series of terrible investments, and just like that, their fortune evaporated. They lost everything. They were forced to sell their beautiful, sprawling estate, the very house where they'd hosted parties, flaunting their success. And who do you think was the mysterious, anonymous buyer who swept in and bought the house for a great price? That's right, Becca. The final day came when the aunt had to hand over the keys. She was waiting in the now empty living room, looking defeated and frail. The doorbell rang. She opened it, and there stood Becca. But it wasn't just Becca. It was what Becca was wearing that made the air freeze. Around her neck was her mother's locket. On her wrist, the diamond bracelet. In her ears, the pearl earrings. Over the years, Becca had tracked down every single piece. The aunt had pawned them off one by one as her financial situation got worse, and Becca had quietly bought them all back. She stood there in the doorway of the house she now owned, adorned in the jewelry her aunt had stolen from her dead mother. Becca didn't have to say a single word. She just looked at her. The color drained from her aunt's face. The recognition, the shame, the horror, it was all there. In that one silent moment, every lie, every bit of greed came crashing down. The aunt knew that Becca knew. And now she had nothing left, while Becca had reclaimed everything and more. Becca just gave a small, sad smile, took the keys from her aunt's trembling hand, and walked into her new home, leaving her aunt standing on the porch with nothing but her guilt. That, my friends, is the definition of revenge being a dish best served cold. What do you think? Was this the perfect revenge? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.